chord of Bach chorale. Last chord, Bach chorale. Here we go. Number 12, last chord, concert F major. 1, 2, and ready. Start probably right at 7. Okay, so just hang out.
Good evening. The Legacy High School class of 2019 welcomes you to our graduation. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as the Legacy High School chorale sings our national anthem. Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the principal of Legacy High School, Mrs. Sarah Marks.
Thank you, Colin. On behalf of the Legacy High School staff, I would like to welcome all parents, grandparents, family members, and friends who are here to celebrate Legacy High School's 17th graduating class. As you know, making it to graduation is a big accomplishment, one that cannot be done alone. The graduates would like to take a moment to thank those who have helped them along the way. Will the graduates please rise and recognize those who supported you? Please be seated. Class of 2019, I want to say that it has been an honor and privilege to serve as your principal these past few years. I've shared with you throughout our senior meetings this year, graduations are special to me, and I take great pride in representing the staff of Legacy here today. What makes graduation such a special event is that we have the opportunity to both celebrate where you have been, but also look ahead to your future as well, and that is pretty amazing. Each year as we near graduation, and I think about my opening remarks, I try to think about what makes each graduating class unique, and what I will remember most about the graduating class. And there's just something about this class that I cannot quite figure out how best to describe. But it's something about how you just seem to have this approach to life with enthusiasm and just this zest for life. Even this morning, while getting ready for your AP Bio exams, you were laughing and joking. I could tell that perhaps you were a little bit stressed, but at the same time, you didn't let it show. And while I know you are ready to grow up and move on from high school, there's just a little bit of kid at heart spirit that seems to be present in this class of 2019. And I mean this in a good way. Allow me to explain. Let me take you back to the second week of school. I was standing in my usual spot in the main lobby saying good morning. As students walked by, I remember pausing as one group went past thinking, was that student wearing a life vest? And I remember thinking, that's odd. Then pretty soon I spotted a few more. So at this point, the former teacher in me just began wondering, what class were you giving a speech for? Must have been a prop or something. It's clearly not a fashion statement. And then I noticed a few more students, more specifically seniors, were wearing life vests. And at the moment I noticed a student wearing water wings, the principal side of me said, "This can't be good." What I came to learn was that you had set up some sort of elaborate water balloon game as a senior class, and that as long as you were wearing a life vest, you were safe. Now, I appreciated that you all assured me that the ground rules clearly stated you could not throw water inside the school. Thank you for that. We did, though, over the next few weeks, have several students asking me to sneak them outside some back exit so I could get hit with water. No, thank you. And a lot of questions about what Mrs. Marks and admin did or did not say was okay in terms of this game. To clarify, parents, none of this was a school-sanctioned event. And while the game eventually drifted away, this was just the beginning of this class demonstrating that it's okay to take a break sometimes and enjoy the fun stuff. This class, more than any other, has reminded me that it's okay to sometimes rush the court and occasionally go off script. And at the end of the day, the class of 2019 has made the most of their high school experience. There are countless examples of your time at Legacy in which you continue to experience the fun of being a high school student. And as you think back to high school, I hope that you will remember all of the remarkable moments you've had, both in and out of the classroom. You've excelled academically as a class, earning over $7.1 million in scholarships. Many of you earned industry certificates while exploring your future careers and are taking the skills right into the field. Seated before me are league, regional, and state champions. You competed and performed throughout the state of Colorado, across the country, and even around the world. You won every spirit competition this year, taking our pep assemblies to a new level when you took the party chant to center court. And while I may have had a moment of panic thinking about the chaos that would likely begin, I looked out and saw students that truly just wanted to enjoy their high school experience. So thank you for bringing your legacy pride and joy time and time again. Now, graduation is not only about looking back at the good memories and all that you have accomplished, but it is also about looking at the future. Further, it is also an opportunity for those of us who have walked in your shoes to provide you with some words of encouragement and advice. So here are some from me to you. I hope that you live each day fully, that at the end of the day, you will be proud of the decisions you made. My hope is that you make an impact on the lives of others, that you make a difference. My hope is that you live a life without regret. My hope is that you find something that you are passionate about. Take Mr. Huff, for example. Mr. Huff is retiring after 51 years as a math teacher. He stayed in this profession for so long because he absolutely loves what he does each and every day. My hope is that you go out into the world and find something that you love, embrace it, and do it well. You have an amazing future ahead of you, so go out there and make the most of it. I wish you the very best in the years ahead. Congratulations, graduates.
At this time, we'd like to introduce the platform guests and the Legacy High School staff. We ask that all guests remain standing until introductions have been completed, and we also ask that the audience hold their applause until the final guests have been introduced. Representing the Adams 12 Five-Star School District Administration, Mr. Chris Godowski. Superintendent, Ms. Priscilla Strawn, Chief Academic Officer. Mr. Lee Peters, Executive Director of Schools. Mrs. Carrie Cocozella, Executive Director of Schools. Representing the school board, Ms. Kathy Plomer, President. Ms. Laura Mitchell, Vice President. Mr. Norm Jennings, Secretary. Mr. Brian Batts, Director. And Ms. James Lockley, Director.
Representing Legacy High School, Mrs. Sarah Marks, Principal. Mr. John Gordon, Faculty Speaker. Colin Siles, Valedictorian. Colin will be attending the Colorado School of Mines. Cynthia Mollendor, Senior Class President. Cynthia will be attending the University of Northern Colorado. Ashley Tebow, Senior Class President. Ashley will be attending Colorado State University. Abby Mudgett, Student Body President. Abby will be attending Northern Arizona University. Miroslava Becerra Garcia, Senior Class Speaker. Miroslava will be attending the University of California, Berkeley. And myself, Ariana Ehrenfoyt, salutatorian. I will be attending Lehigh University. In addition, we would like to recognize the Legacy High School staff members who are seated next to the graduates. Would the staff please rise? Please be seated. At this time, help me welcome Miroslava Becerra Garcia, our senior class speaker who will give the student address.
Good evening, class of 2019, and welcome parents, friends, family, and everyone who's here tonight to celebrate this milestone in our lives. It's an honor to be standing up here, and tonight I'd like to recap our legacy as a class and talk about the exciting first steps we will all take into leaving our own individual legacies. Going into high school truly was like walking into a blur. Seeing the word legacy as freshmen simply meant the place we went to high school, and we never thought it could mean anything more than that. On the very first day of high school, we walked through the doors of Legacy, our backpacks full of new supplies, wearing our new shoes, and we strutted down the hallways pretending to be cool and confident, but in reality, we were just trying to figure out where the B hallway was. As freshmen, though cool and confident, we were all nervous and anxious because we knew high school meant one step closer to the real world. In our first weeks at Legacy, we saw all the different stages of puberty, some that we didn't even know existed, and the heaviest traffic we had ever seen down the hallways, probably worse than the one you experienced trying to get up here. But through the year, as we sat in our English class, learning about PEA format and observing cells through a microscope in biology, we grew more into ourselves, slowly cracking out of our shells, and we began to think of what legacy we would leave behind. 4 years at Legacy, we've spent enjoying and sometimes hating the times we had. Through our 4 years at Legacy, our band traveled across the world to play in the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Ireland. Many of us went to state more than once with our different sports teams. We won all 3 pep rallies consistently as seniors, and we had the largest number of athletes who signed to a college or a university to play. So I think it's pretty safe to say we're one of the best classes Legacy has ever seen. Legacy allowed us to experience the rush of going to a football game, the awful smells of dissecting a rat, and one of the best high school educations. The legacies that we left behind in our 4 years lie in the unforgettable bonds we made with some of our amazing teachers, in the memories made at events like homecoming, and in the effort you made to succeed at Legacy. And now, it's time to go into the world with the skills we've gained. We go armed with knowing how to take the forces on an object, how to find the derivative of 4x cubed, and how to write a strong timed writing. You know, all things adults do in their daily lives. But as you close this chapter of your life and open up a new one, you're gonna be pushed towards pursuing new and diverse knowledge. You're gonna face questions, and you're gonna have to make decisions like, what do you truly support? What do you wanna see yourself as? And is this month-old ramen really okay to eat? If there's one question that will be on your mind more than anything, it's what legacy will you leave behind to maybe your loved ones, the world, or your community? 4 years we've spent seeing the word legacy, and now it's gonna mean more than just the place you attended high school. Opening that new chapter means starting the blueprint to what your legacy will be. Will you be like Alexander Graham Bell and revolutionize something as big as communication? Or like Malala Yousafzai and bring awareness to groups? Will you spark a movement like Martin Luther King Jr., or even be the first to reach a height never touched before, like Neil Armstrong? What is your legacy? It's a question you won't be able to answer without growing and changing a little first. No, don't worry, it's not that kind of change again. It's a change that makes you go from an immature, gross teenager to a smarter, stronger, and still pretty gross adult. Change, however, like everything else in life, never comes easy, and at times it's gonna seem like the world is punching you right in the throat. Napoleon Hill, an American self-help author whose studies focused on helping people find their success, describes this stage in people's lives perfectly. He said that strength and growth come only through a continuous struggle, and that people who have found their greatest success found it just one step beyond their greatest failure. Simply said, you can't walk on sunshine until you walk through a little rain first. And that basically means that yes, it's going to get hard and harder, and then harder from there. But it's the people who push through the rain and grow while doing it that are the people that leave their legacy. And while you leave that shell behind that you cracked open freshman year, and you post your Instagram picture in your cap and gown, captioned, #started from the bottom, now we here, remember that success for you will come in its own unique form, and to leave your legacy for the world to see, because each and every one of us has the potential to do great things. It's been an honor to spend 4 years with all of you guys, and congrats once again to the class of 2019. And now, our legacy band, under the direction of Mr. Clay Stansbury, will play America the Beautiful.
Thank you, band members. Every year, the graduating class selects a faculty speaker for graduation. This year, the class of 2019 selected Science and Legacy 2000 teacher, Mr. John Gordon, who has been teaching at our school since 2003. If you've been lucky enough to have Mr. Gordon, whether for physics or Legacy 2000, you know that he's not your typical, average, everyday science teacher. Not only is he fantastic at helping make sure students understand complex science topics, he is also fantastic at making sure students have fun doing so, through his interactive demonstrations and his dry, ironic sense of humor. But most importantly, perhaps, Mr. Gordon cares deeply about his students, not as numbers in the gradebook, but as people. For those reasons, Mr. Gordon's classrooms are among the most engaging and supportive places to learn. It is therefore an honor and a privilege to welcome Mr. John Gordon to the podium.
Thank you for that introduction, Colin. I can assure you that I'm not worthy of that, and I'm about to prove that over here in the next about 10 minutes and 50 seconds. The graduates that we have here on the stage, as well as those of you out there on the floor, those of you on the sides as parents, family, and friends, know that this is truly an outstanding group and one of the best that I've ever been associated with. Good evening. Thank you, District Administration, members of the school board, Legacy High School administration, faculty and staff of Legacy High School, family and friends of the graduates, and most importantly, the Legacy High School class of 2019. It is indeed a great honor for me to be here tonight, and let me first say congratulations on your achievement. According to National Public Radio, this month across our great country, about 7 million students will be participating in some type of graduation ceremony. And as a part of that graduation ceremony, you get to listen to what's called a commencement address. Typically, these fall into two major categories, good and bad. How many major categories? You guys got to be paying attention. Put your cell phones away and no more snap facing. My best hope is that this one falls into the good category, and if it's not, I know it'll be short and I'll finish on time. Also, for those of you that I've had the pleasure of having in class, I'm going to do my best to pronounce all of the words correctly. Schedule instead of schedule. Pineapples instead of pinapples. Batteries instead of batteries. Ratios instead of ratios. And my favorite of all, root instead of root. Oh yeah. Also, unlike in class, I promise not to leave out the last syllable. Nicely done. When I was first notified by Principal Marks that I was selected to provide this address, I had the choice if I wanted to accept, and I immediately thought of two things. How many things? Two of them, that's right. My first thought was, oh no, I have to follow Krupa. What a speaker he is and what a story he has. Now I know that you guys know his story, but for those of you on the sides, the friends, the family, if you do not know about him, who he is, and what he has done, ask around. You'll be inspired. I know I am. Also along the lines of following greatness, I have a question for you. What was the name of the quarterback who started the year after John Elway retired? It's exactly what I thought. My second thought was, what can I possibly say to this group that will be profound, motivational, and inspiring? I don't have a great inspirational story. I'm not a famous author. I'm not an inspiring athlete or entertainer. I'm not a Navy SEAL or an Army Ranger or a politician who has ascended to high ranks. I am a modern-day Fred Flintstone who just so happens to be blessed with the chance to work with these fine young people day in and day out. So the decision seemed clear. You have to do it. Take advantage of this opportunity, and that is the message that I hope to get across to you tonight. Take advantage of the opportunities that will be presented to you. Sometimes you're even going to have to get out of your own way to do so. After I accepted the invitation, I was still stumped about what to say. So I started talking to my darling wife, Paige, about what I'd say up here tonight, and she wisely told me that I was selected by the finest graduates in Adams County School District number 12 because they want to hear from you. So be you. With that wisdom and knowing well who I am, where I've been, what I've accomplished, the message that I knew I wanted to try to deliver was clear. Get out of your own way and take full advantage of the chances that you have. Opportunity is defined as an occasion, situation, or set of circumstances that requires commitment and risk to advance or progress. Opportunities, those that you have had, those that are currently in front of you, and those that will be presented to you, are certain to come in a variety of forms. They may come in a form of a path that you've planned on traveling. They may also come in the form of an unexpected diversion from that path that you've plotted for yourself, a chance to go in a new direction that will likely involve taking on a number of unknowns. Speaking of unknowns, Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense for 2 U.S. presidents. How many U.S. presidents? There we go. Nice. Said it best when he classified knowns and unknowns into 3 different categories. Thought I was going to ask that time, but I didn't. The first are the known knowns. These are the things that we know that we know. The second category are the known unknowns. These are the things that we know that we do not know. Finally, the third and most daunting is the unknown unknowns. These are the things that we don't know that we do not know. And if one looks throughout the history of our country and other free countries, it's the latter categories that tend to be the difficult ones. These last 2 categories of unknowns is where I think we get in our way the most. We deny ourselves opportunities, because within these opportunities, we are presented our knowns that we're comfortable with. But it's the unknowns where the apprehension and the doubt lie. We fail to recognize that within these chances are times where we can demonstrate faith, where we can take risks, where we can seek and find adventure, and experience glory and triumph. But we have to forsake comfort and familiarity, which are the known knowns. Now, my darling wife Paige also told me that I needed to tell a story about opportunities to try to make it sink. And I have one that I'll share with you about where I failed to get out of my own way. And I'll tell you this one story because when I hope that you're at a similar crossroads, you bet on yourself. I could not, and I did not, get out of my own way. You see, as a much younger version of myself, right about your age, a few months before graduation, I was trying to finalize my college path. And there were a few options that I had remaining. My top choice at that time was a school in campus that I had thought about attending since I was a 6th grader, attending his very first college football game with my dad. No, not the Irish Catholic dream of Notre Dame. That wish had been vanquished in the face of many unimpressive report cards. There we were in the stands of picturesque Folsom Field on this very University of Colorado campus. From that October day in 1980, yes, 1980. Even though that afternoon the mighty Golden Buffaloes fell to Drake University from Des Moines, Iowa, it didn't matter. I was hooked. I was a fan, and the idea of becoming a student at the University of Colorado was set into motion. To this day, I still get goosebumps when Ralphie storms the field on game day. In my mind, the single greatest tradition in college football. But back to the story. Late spring, college acceptances and denials are coming in, a few options in hand, some denials, which wasn't a surprise, but the big one still remained. Finally, it came, in the mail. Yes, stamps, mailbox, envelopes, paper, the mail. It came. Now understand, things have changed since then, not just gas and home prices and hairstyles, thank goodness, though it would be nice to have a little bit more hair to style these days. Your first notice of college acceptances did not come in the form of an email. And worse yet, you could tell if you were in or you were out by the size and the girth of the envelope. A thick letter was good, you were in. A thin letter was bad. And this one with a bolder return address was thin. You're right. This letter, this very letter that I still have to this day, right here, was thin. And without even reading it, I thought I was out. But I opened it to see for myself, to confirm that I needed to consider other options and read this thin letter of doom. But as I opened it, I was confused. I wasn't out, but I wasn't in. I could get in if I registered for summer classes, took 9 credits, and if I earned C's or above, I would be in. This was an opportunity. This was an invitation. This was a chance for me to prove myself and demonstrate that I was worthy. I can see that now, and I understand why the admissions department was not very enthusiastic about my room temperature academic record. But the bullheaded, stubborn, and prideful 18-year-old version of myself could only see the rejection on the paper and feel the sting of disappointment. I did not see the opportunity, so I abandoned that chance. I didn't bet on myself. I didn't and I couldn't get out of my own way. So I went a different direction. I went to another college here in the state, and there I blew another opportunity, but that's a different story for another time. History is full of great stories of inspirational people that have refused to accept the judgment of others. All kinds of people have overcome challenges placed before them. Be one of those stories, even if we never see it on Next with Kyle Clark or E60 on ESPN. Have unshakable confidence and get out of your own way. Now that I may have brought you down a little bit and crushed the celebratory spirit of the room, realize it's not bad. I love my life. I have had other opportunities that I have managed to take advantage of. As Colin so eloquently said, in 2003, Executive Director of Secondary Education Lee Peters, right over here to my right, offered me a position as a science teacher and football coach, and this has been the highlight of my career in education. Working with you has been the highlight of my career in education. Yet the biggest and best opportunity that I ever had, and I'm really still not sure how I managed to pull it off, was when I ran into a friend at a local health club whom I hadn't seen in years. I came to find out that she had recently moved back to Colorado from the great state of Texas. She was not visiting, and she was single. Encouraged to take a risk by one of my 3 friends, Scott, because this girl was so far out of my league, I asked her out to dinner. And 2 years later, how many years? 2 years later, she became a darling wife, Paige. Way more than a risk for her, and not much of an opportunity, that's for certain. Also, there's our smart, kind, funny, talented, hardworking, and beautiful daughter who makes me so proud, much like your parents and family and friends are of you today. So when you leave here, maybe even waiting for you right now are some opportunities. Some you have worked hard to carve out and arrange for yourself. Others may be invitations. They may even come disguised in unrecognizable forms. They may be anticipated, or they may be a complete surprise. But believe this, you will have chances, you will have invitations, and you will have rejections that really are all opportunities. Get out of your own way and make the best of those chances. Thank you, class of 2019. Congratulations, and I hope this is a great life for you.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Legacy Chorale, under the direction of Mrs. Karen Stacks, will now sing Until We Meet Again.
We dedicate this song to everyone in our lives who helped us get to this day.
Until we meet again, I'll hold you in my heart, closer than a whisper. journey. Do all the good you can. When you find someone in need, extend a helping hand. Grow where you've been planted. May joy fill all your days. And though it's hard to say goodbye, I'll try to find a way. Try to find a way. Hear me as I pray. Hear me as I pray. Until we meet again, I'll hold you in my heart, closer than a whisper, no more than a thought apart. We'll have memories time can't erase. I'll hear your voice. I'll see your smiling, smiling face. Until we meet, until we meet again. Until we meet, until we meet again.
Thank you, Legacy Chorale. Mrs. Sarah Marks will now present the class of 2019 to Mr. Chris Gadowski, Superintendent of Adams 12 5-star schools.
Graduates, please rise. Superintendent Gadowski and members of the school board, I hereby affirm and attest that the graduates standing before you have met and in many cases exceeded the graduation requirements set forth by Legacy High School, Adams 12 5-star schools, and the state of Colorado. It is my pleasure to present the Legacy High School graduating class of 2019.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marks. Graduates, please take a seat. We're going to conserve some energy. The presentation of the graduating class from principal to superintendent and then on to the Board of Education has a long history founded on the most basic of math skills. The journey to graduation culminates with our counselors confirming that each of you have successfully completed at least 23 credits spread across a variety of disciplines and electives. In a couple of years, in response to state legislation, we'll add some additional quantitative requirements, largely in the form of test scores, as a condition for graduation. The changes we've made in public education over the years to increase the depth, the breadth, and quality of your education are all well-intended steps to better prepare you for a productive life. In the end, though, it's the qualities that we cannot measure, the values and beliefs held deep in your heart and your soul, that are most on my mind as I prepare to present your class to the Board of Education. The recent shooting at the STEM school in Highlands Ranch, along with those that occur too frequently at places of worship, places of employment, institutions of learning, shopping malls, and entertainment venues throughout our nation, remind us that quantitative measurements alone fall well short in identifying the characteristics we desire in you as you leave us as graduates and enter our community as young adults. It's certainly important that you're able to speak and write clearly, have solid math skills, understand scientific principles, have learned about history and structures of government, and appreciate the importance of the arts, health, and exercise in a well-balanced life. I submit that it is more important, however, that you leave us with hearts and minds committed to respecting all others who share this life with you and to breaking loose from the destructive shackles of hate that permeate so much of our society. We've found an endless number of ways to hate one another. Some choose to hate based upon race or color. Others choose to hate based upon sexual orientation, religious beliefs, economic status, political affiliations, and a long list of other characteristics and values. And unfortunately, social media channels make it easier and more convenient than ever to spread the hate through pinpointed and group messages alike. As a result, we've become all too familiar with situations in which those who spew the hate or have been the recipients of it take violent actions as their most amplified means of expressing hate or responding to it. I'm grateful to those of you present today who have taken steps to change the way we interact with one another, whether it's through active participation in Day Without Hate activities at school, or through developing a relationship of respect and kindness with those much different than you. I am proud of those of you present today who have, through experiences at school, with family, or by participation in community or faith institutions, internalized the values of genuine respect, care, and concern for all others, notwithstanding their differences. And for those of you who find yourself too often consumed with hate or comfortably familiar with it, my hope is you'll make this area the one of greatest growth and development and your top priority. The quality of your life and the quality of life for all of us here depends on it. And so, given Ms. Mark's certification that you have met or exceeded the district's academic requirements for graduation, and with hopes that each of you will take forward with you a commitment to values of respect and kindness to all, it is my privilege to accept this class of 2019 and present you to the Board of Education for recognition. Congratulations.
Oh, that's great. We love you, Keegan, too. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathy Plummer, and I have the unique position of being a parent of a graduate, so I am very much identifying with everybody out there. Tonight, my youngest child will graduate, ending an 8-year run with a student at Legacy. My heart is full of gratitude for the education all my children have received and the relationships they have made with amazing fellow students and the teachers and staff at Legacy. I have found myself this last year, as maybe many of you have, getting tearful at odd times, leaving parent-teacher conferences in February, driving into the Legacy parking lot for senior project night. So you know you have a problem when you get nostalgic about the Legacy parking lot. Aptly compared by Mrs. Dumas in her senior dessert speech to Dante's Inferno, no one should get choked up about not having a reason to come to that parking lot again. So I decided to own my tearful existence and lead us into getting diplomas with a few words about tears. For many of us, students, faculty, and probably most likely parents and family, tears come with the territory of graduation. They are one way to express profound emotions like sadness, frustration, and despair, but also relief, joy, gratitude, and love. They are an outward sign of deep feelings within us. Today's tears are a recognition of the many emotions that come with transition. For graduates, they reflect your feelings about the past, all of the people and experiences that led to tonight, and what's ahead for the future, the excitement and uncertainty of unknown. So what I wish for you today, graduates, is oddly a life with tears. Why? Because to shed tears means you are leading the kind of life where you feel connected. You are putting yourself out there to experience the ups and downs of life. It means you are striving and risking the pain of coming up short. It means you care so much about a cause, an injustice, or a person that you can get overwhelmed with emotion. It means you experience happiness and thankfulness and love. Our main job as a school district is to focus on preparing you with the knowledge and skills you need for your future. What happens along the way is that we get to know you as people, and then we want something much deeper for you than financial or positional success. We want a life for you of fulfillment and purpose, and yes, maybe some tears. So on behalf of the Board of Education, I congratulate you on your accomplishments in making it here to this day and wish you meaning and success in all that's ahead. Congratulations, class of 2019. Before we proceed with diplomas, it is tradition at Legacy to recognize those individuals who will be serving in our armed services. So if you can please stand if you are serving in the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, or the Coast Guard. Thank you for your service to our country. And now it's time to unleash some lightning. Let's go.
The senior class chose the following staff members to read the names of our graduates: Mrs. Beth Benarowitz, Mrs. Ann Campbell, Mr. Jason Cianfrance, Mr. Darren Clemenhagen, Mr. Zach Jones, Mr. Matt Krupa, Miss Athena Liss, and Mr. Greg Miller.
The announcers will be alternating back and forth between the podium station below. Students with last names L through LIV will be announced on the left west side of the stage. Students with the last name LOM through Z will be announced on the right east side of the stage. Ms. Carrie Kajawa will be the last announcer as she reads the names of our foreign exchange students who joined us at Legacy for the year.
It is my privilege to award the diplomas to our student leaders on the stage. Miroslava Becerra Garcia. Ariana Lynn Ehrenfoyt. Cynthia Rose Mollender. Abby Suzanne Mudgett. Colin Patrick Siles. Ashley Rose Tebow.
Stage guests, please step down to award diplomas. Mr. Clemenhagen will begin announcing the names of our graduates.
This needs to come off. It's so choking me.
Sierra Nicole Lopez.
Adolorada Reina Lombardi.
Yasmin Banuelos.
Isabel Rosary Lopez.
Renata Delara Yanez.
Kathleen Katie Luni Vong Sa.
Mackenzie Elizabeth Latham.
Joshua Michael Lucero.
Madison Emma Latham.
Kevin Joseph Luker.
Santiago Fabricio Abacara Colina.
Colin Ray Luscombe.
Carlos Aguirre Ortiz.
Cecilia Nohan Liu.
Jason Eric Educatus.
Selmi Estefania Macareno Garcia.
Maxwell Drayton Aldrit.
Riley James Meyer.
Ashlyn Marie Allenbeck.
Jaden Joel Grace Malm.
Morgan Elizabeth Allshouse.
Kaylee Lynn Maynes.
Sebastian Alvarez Pires.
Samantha Ann Main Gunn.
Matthew Bradley Amon.
Brooke Ann Magnol.
Isamar Andazola.
John David Marie.
Haley Victoria Anderson.
Laura Ann Maria.
Madeline Christine Anderson.
Miguel Angel Marin.
Noah James Anderson.
Macy Jean Markarian.
Paulina Anilis Castillo.
Daniel Lewis Ramon Marks.
Timothy Allen Aragon.
James Joseph Mar IV.
Rio Arakawa.
Antonio Armani Marshall.
Jacqueline Marieli Aravala Cardoza.
Ariana Faith Martinez.
Cormac Emmanuel Arroyo.
Madeline Rachel Martinez.
Asmara Jada Atzamet.
Johanna Leah Matthew.
Jose Luis Avilas.
Andrew William Matthias.
Ryan Elizabeth Abram.
Nicholas Scott McCarthy.
DiMaggio Jason Ayers Fredericks.
Lauren Ann McCarty.
Emerson Jet Bacon.
Maya Caitlin McCormick.
Antonio James Baca.
Benjamin Walker McCormick.
Hannah Lauren Backus.
Connor Sean McSpadden.
Jacob Mason Baines.
Jacob Thomas Meister.
Tiffany Marie Balderas.
Luke Michael Mercurio.
Kevin Patrick Ball.
Miranda Rose Michaels.
Gabriel Marciano Barger.
Rosalie Mikulich.
Cole Andrew Bargestay.
Brennan Paul Miller.
Christopher William Barrett.
Cassandra Dawn Miller.
Catherine Nicole Barrett.
Gracie Michael Miller.
Aaron Herschel Ba.
Mason Patrick Milligan.
Brittany Lee Baum.
Julia Marie Miranda.
Kirsten Maya Bax.
Kayla Paige Mollison.
Joshua James Bieber.
Andrew James Michael Mong.
Connor James Becker.
Jasmine Manji Magalon.
Jacqueline Bedoya.
Autumn Paige Montoya.
Isabella Karina Ann Beeler.
Jordan Marie Montes.
Julianne Margaret Marie Berger.
Nezone Natane Morgan.
Lee Allen Biersner.
Rhett Landon Morgan.
My last name is pronounced Muth.
Eli Eugene Billinger.
Dawson Carter Muth.
Tyler Stephen Bischoff.
Preston Hunter Nash.
Alexander Thomas Bashard.
Jason J. Newholfen.
Trevor Allen Bloomer.
Corinne Isabella Newstetter.
Aiden Michael Thomas Boatwright.
Bailey Brienne Newham.
Kyle Edward Bodine.
Emily Hun Nguyen.
Tyler Matthew Beckenstead.
Leonardo Tran Tian.
Viravong Parisa Boone.
V. Tio Nguyen.
Anya Catherine Borslowitz.
Savannah Rain Nichols.
Jacob Lewis Borelli.
Kaylee Knoll.
Melissa Christy Borfitz.
Yvonne Antoinette Nolasco.
Joseph Robert Borman.
Madison Lee Novak.
Christian Sarah Boutros.
Allison Elise Nunemacher.
Adam Charles Brandenstein.
Ethan Charles Oakes.
Ethan Joseph Bro.
Marissa Barana Ojeda.
Kendra Ann Bright.
Cameron McKinley Oldweiler.
Raina Ann Britt.
Jack Thomas Olson.
Laura Nicole Broderick.
Jonas Ray Ortega.
John Howland Brooks.
Cesar Hernaldo Ortega Ortiz.
Pearl Ann Brown.
Annette Ortiz Solis.
Catherine Elizabeth Brown.
Aubrey Otterson.
Grace Ryan Burnside.
Madeline Elise Owen.
Jason Michael Benarowitz.
Taylor Lynn Pace.
Erin Marie Burson.
Josephine Amelia Page.
September Michelle Carlton.
Joshua Ryan Parrish.
Chloe Opal Carlson.
Sydney Amelia Patrick.
Annalisa Natalia Carmosino.
Emily Morgan Patton.
Anne Grace Carpenter.
Marissa Ayumi Payne.
Lacey Raylyn Carson.
Andrew David Pearson.
Ivan Castillo Garcia.
Valerie Michelle Paycheck.
Melchizedek Ivan Castro Vasquez.
Ryan Joseph Peterson.
Reagan Michaela Cates.
Harrison Oswaldo Pfeiffer.
Kaylee Michelle Kavnar.
Kiara Ray Pfeiffer.
Brian Vladimir Kyrez Bailone.
Caitlin Mi Zuen Pham.
Dominic Ashton Michael Chavez.
Jackson Paul Phillips.
Sophia Christine Chavez.
William John Plomer.
Neatra Chia.
Mackenzie Ray Powell.
Brandon Douglas Childs.
Megan Jade Priller.
Nicholas Vincenzo Chino.
Abigail Helen Prinster.
Tycho Lowerson Cinquini.
Jocelyn May Putnam.
Maya Faith Helena Claridge.
Okay. Emma Helena Corals.
Xavier J. Clendenin Pineda.
Dominique Sarah Quinn Brown.
Matthew Evan Clift.
Amna Miriam Qureshi.
Jacqueline Renee Kaufman.
Xavier Ramos.
Jennifer Naomi Condit.
Abby Lynn Rasmussen.
Nathan D. Converse.
Nathaniel Sergey Ray.
Bryson Fisher Cook.
Sarah Karen Rader.
Colin James Cook.
Haley Michelle Reinacher.
Madison Ann Cook.
Toby Judson Renfro.
Elijah Christopher Cook Cruz.
Anna Grace Richards.
Corinne Elizabeth Coons.
Madison Nicole Richards Willis.
Sydney Nicole Coons.
Liam Martin Rinkin.
Demas James Cordova.
Gabriel Alejandro Rivera.
Erica Danielle Cordova.
William John Roberts.
Tessa Lynn Corey.
Hunter Owen Rothig.
Abigail Christine Cowan.
James Maximus Rogers.
Landon Robert Crandall.
Dinah Kathleen Romy.
Emily Catherine Creasy.
Jasmine Romero.
Madison Ann Chrysler.
Sophia Rianne Romero.
Emily Elaine Crozier.
Hunter Michael Rope.
Owen Christopher Cunnington.
Tamara Rosas Garcia.
Jarrett Nicholas Curran.
Megan Samantha Rothenberg.
Jaden Anthony Damiani.
Amy Danielle Ruland.
Ryan Casey Daniel.
Bianca Olivia Ruiz Espinoza.
Layla Jean Daywood.
Tessa Marie Ruth.
Thomas Francis Davis V.
Ryan Michael Sacker.
Joshua Riley Davison.
Logan Daniel Sansbury.
Sarah Louise DeGrone.
Lana Mar Salfidi.
Monica Sylvia DeLeo.
Miranda Brienne Sanchez.
Sarah Grace Dills.
Joel Sandoval.
William Anthony DeLulo.
Carter Scott Sargent.
Carrie Rebecca Ditton.
Logan McGuire Scheller.
Leah Caroline Dollar.
Benjamin Robert Harris Scherer.
Andrew James Dorset.
Drew Michael Schmuck.
Catherine Carey Dunbabin.
Amy Rebecca Schock.
Brian Christopher Dunning.
Camille Margaret Schonenbeck.
Megan Ann Durland.
Gracie Slaby Schumacher.
Peyton Tyler Early.
Abigail Elizabeth Scott.
Thomas Joseph Eaton.
Sydney Hollis Scruggs.
Cameron Melissa Eck.
Paulina Serrano Moreno.
Isaiah Orion Elgis.
Alexander James Cervantes.
Marcus John Emerson.
Dana Rain Schaefer.
Samuel Anders Erstad.
Nathan Scott Shaver.
Blake Michael Irvin.
Michaela Rose Shaw.
Alexis Espinoza Chenoweth.
Ryan Scott Sheehan.
Haley Elizabeth Estep.
Connor Keith Shelton.
Lauren Michelle Facey.
Nathan Marcus Sanchez Shipley.
Shannon Grace Farron.
Ayusha Shrestha.
Kyla Jade Fessler.
Jesus Sierra Nunez Jr.
V. Fettig.
Megan Sarah Gabrielle Simmons.
Jessica May Fields.
Brendan Corey Smith.
Shaylin Marie Fisher.
Jack Allen Smith.
Sierra Amber Flood.
Reagan Joe Smith.
Raquel Aisha Flores.
Landon David Sneed.
Simon Eugene Fowler.
William Conrad Snyder.
Jack Horst Fullenkamp.
Colton Edward Snyder.
Miguel A. Galicia.
Rachel Rathnamale Sones.
Tianyu Tommy Gao.
Anna Michelle Sosa.
Aiden Robert Garcia.
Iris Alexandra Sosa.
Natalie Marie Garcia.
Carly Spallone. Carly Marie Spallone.
Juliette Anna Gaye.
Connor Wells Spence.
Allison Nicole George.
Cameron Wayne Springer.
Jasmine Angelina Gurman.
Nora Catherine Spooler.
Megan Elise Gervasio.
Molly Star Spurlock.
Emma Sachaya Gidley.
Jackson Richard Stapleton.
Colin Ryan Gilmore.
Nisa Marita Steele.
Haley Marie Giordano.
Sophia Dawn Steen.
Allison Christina Glaspie.
Madeline Paige Stevens.
Ava Paulina Gomez España.
Sasha Elise Stogner.
Dylan Jacob Gonsalves.
Marilee Ramey Storm.
Carissa Lene Isabel Gonzalez.
Madeline Leona Stout.
Samantha Brooke Gonzalez.
Noah David Stover.
Miku Nimura Goodwin.
Lauren Nancy Strathern.
Dylan Andrew Grierson.
Ryu Sung Sullivan.
Kai Landon Gronley.
Morgan Riley Sutherland.
Rachel Beth Groves.
Nathan Alexander Swan.
Arcelia Alejandra Guerrero.
Jordan Lee Swinhart.
Alejandro Julian Zavala.
Joseph Hao Shuang Tang.
Madeline Grace Goldbranson.
Becca Ann Taylor.
Anthony Michael Gutierrez Jr.
Logan Naomi Taylor.
Salvador Lee Gutierrez III.
Chirag Parot Talang.
Erica Renee Haynes.
Chao Ling Tong.
Grace Marie Hall.
Lauren Elise Titai.
Sabrina Grace Hall.
Callista Gonang Tao.
Emma Lou Hamilton.
Madeline Zongxia Tao.
Benjamin Cole Hammond.
Elise Nicole Thompson.
Ace Vivi Hammond.
Carly Elizabeth Thompson.
Shannon Marie Hamp.
Matthew William Thompson.
Aaron Michael Hardy.
McKenna Klein Thompson.
Cameron Taylor Lee Hares.
Sarah Ann Thompson.
Corey Matthew Hartland.
Noah James Tibbetts.
Melanie Louise Harvey.
Jonathan Shea Ty.
Ethan Troy Hastings.
Joshua Thomas Jarks.
Hunter Jonathan Hayes.
Holly Toe.
Parker Lee Hebert.
Richard John Torres Jr.
Samuel James Heppelman.
Gabriel Torres.
Haley Ann Henry.
Zuen Tran.
Genesis Hermosillo Pino.
Nathan Tuan Kiet Tran.
Morgan Riley Hernandez Ballou.
Peyton Elizabeth Sylvia Tran.
Brianna Lynn Hintz.
Delfino Ruben Trujillo Jr.
Travis Jeffrey Hitt.
Michael Trong.
Nicholas Gerald Hoke Jr.
Benjamin Tan Bin Tuka.
Emmy Marie Hoban.
Sierra Elise Tuttle.
Keegan Alexander Hoffman.
Carissa Ann Twining.
Aaron Lee Honstein.
Isabella Cristina Valenzuela.
James Eugene Holshen III.
Carlos Valerio.
David Raymond Holter III.
Ryan Akio Vereste.
Grant Forrest Hoos.
Samantha Jo Ventola.
Jason Emmett Horwath.
Jordan Janney Ventola.
Kiki Latoya Howell.
Alyssa Desiree Vigil.
Stephen Andrew Hewitt.
Cristobal Villalobos Arevalo.
Kaylee Ann Hull.
Caitlin Elizabeth Viziak.
Reese Daniel Huxtable.
Tyler Hans Von Fumetti.
Ashley Marie Hyatt.
Aubriana Jade Von Drake.
Jose Manuel Ibarra.
Sydney Ray Vonish.
Emron Islam.
Rachel Ann Verlenick.
Sage Nara Jameson.
Danielle Jordan Wagner.
Lucas Jameson.
Noelle Rose Wagner.
Kara Elizabeth Ray Janowski.
Sophia Emily Wahid.
Nicholas Earl Jensen.
Owen Reed Weber.
Taylor Kenny Jimenez.
Zachary Allen Weedle.
Alyssa Nicole Johnson.
Jenna Christine Worley.
Matthew Edwin Johnson.
Caitlin Brooke Welch.
Sabrina Dale Johnson.
Matthew Morgan Wennick.
Aiden Antonio Johnston.
Getty Harlan Wenzinger.
Griffin Joshua Jolly.
Abby Victoria Whitley.
Connor Matthew Jordan.
Kaylin Raymer Wiederick.
Ismael Juarez Hernandez.
Maddie Holland Weedorn.
Peter T. Juntanen.
Sean Lee Wigman.
Sungwoo Kevin King.
Nathaniel Carl Williams.
Emily Catherine Kasowitz.
Cole Andrew Willis.
Emma Ann Keyser.
Brooke Elizabeth Willoughby.
Adrian Martin Kelly.
Peyton K. Wilson.
Isabella Nicole Kelly.
Jaden Anderson Wingfield.
Jake Thomas Kendall Perry.
Erica Mia Wong.
Clayton James Kennedy.
Killian Joseph Wood.
Kasha Elizabeth Kent.
Lauren Nicole Wood.
Ashton Lee Kerr.
Tristan Echo Workman.
Emerson Thomas Kidd.
Taylor Lily Rabbits.
Patrick Hyunwoo Kim.
Kaylee May Wright.
Katie Marie Kinch.
Hayden Fran Xavier.
Brooke Elizabeth King.
Joshua Jun Song Yu.
Tyler Jackson Kirkpatrick.
Kyle Cameron Young.
Devin Lane Kirks.
Matthew Gabriel Zarifa.
Chloe Ann Klein.
Cole Benjamin Kaler Zukowski.
Janelle Marie Conkin. Kaylin Marie Koselecki. Joshua Thomas Kreider. Joel Bradley Crescent. Blake Joseph Labuda. Arati Lamichani. Justin Ray Leonard. John Thomas Leslie. Macy Lane Lavasser. Julia Marie Lisi. Sarah Lynn Liversedge.
And last but not least, this year's foreign exchange students. From Italy, Ludovica Cattaneo. Also from Italy, Francesco Gradalini. From Norway, Frida Orvik Knutsen. And from Sweden, Eric Felix Gustav Lundström.
On behalf of the Legacy High School staff, I want to make one final thank you for all your contributions to Legacy High School these past 4 years. Truly, it's been an honor and a privilege. And wherever your next journey takes you, please remember where it began. Congratulations, graduates.
Will the Legacy High School class of 2019 please rise? On the count of 3, we will turn our tassels from right to left, signifying our graduation. 1, 2, 3.